solution to law enforcement officers. So without any delay, I would invite Ilaji. Ilaji is CEO of Sage Prestige Consulting to take this webinar forward and invite the speakers. Welcome, Ilaji.
Sure. Thank you, Shashank. Namaste. Good morning, everyone. We welcome you all to Future Crime Research Foundation's Future Crime Workshop on Digital Crimes in Metaverse Ecosystem. We are joined in today by some of the country's top experts, and it's going to be a very insightful session. I'm really looking forward to a great learning experience, I would say. We can take the Q&A at the end. You can type your questions in the chat box, so we can take it up towards the end of the session. Moving on to the session, although there's a lot of excitement for Metaverse, there's also, as we know, a dark side to it which is not yet fully known or perceived. There are already incidents of crimes like bank robbery using deep fakes, virtual chat rooms or platforms are already witnessing cases of harassment, racism, hate speech, including on Meta platform itself. Virtual gaming platforms have been fatal in the past in some cases. Some of the top risks which are associated with the Metaverse are violation of privacy, impact on self-esteem, harassment, circulation of misinformation or conspiracy theories. Metaverse can actually act as a no man's land to be exploited by criminals if not regulated well. Understanding the thin line between real and fake is getting important, and how crimes are committed in virtual environment will be perceived and managed, how it will be managed and perceived in real world is a topic of debate. So without much delay, let's move on to our speakers for deeper understanding on Metaverse. May I invite Mr. Sanjay Sahay. Mr. Sahay is 1989 batch of IPS. He accomplished high degree of professionalism in varied professional assignments and finally got groomed into an officer who has 360 degrees experience of all policing tasks. He was chief of police of 3 districts. Mr. Sahay was also posted at SP and DIG in the state CID and was part of UN peacekeeping in Kosovo and Sudan. He was head of police computerization, communications, and state crime record bureau. May I invite Mr. Sahay, please?
Thank you, Ila, for a very elaborate introduction. And I thank Shashank Shekhar and your Future Crime Research Foundation for having invited me. Might be for the first time this nature of a conference, because I'm also new to Metaverse as most of us are. And yesterday when I was invited by Dr. Triveni Singh to talk about digital crimes in the Metaverse, I thought might be in the Web 2 only, we have not reached any level as far as the crime investigation and things of that nature are concerned. And we're struggling with social media, data protection, privacy. We don't even have a privacy law to start with. Nonetheless, it is, as Shashank said, it is better to be future ready, and we'll start with this particular enterprise. And this is my first foray into Metaverse. So I will just give you a word of caution that all of us are trying to explore it. So it is not some very authoritative and some expert's opinion. We are trying to bring the whole thing together. I want to share my presentation. Yeah, I have the permission, I presume. Is it visible?
Yes, sir. Visible.
Yeah. It's just that we are starting at the end. So the project which I have taken up today is primarily to set the stage of what Metaverse is, what the inner wheeling dealings, where we have come from Web 1 to Web 3, how does Metaverse and Web 3 get connected? And I'll leave it to the great speakers which follow after me, inclusive of Pavan Dugal, who happens to be my classmate and a friend since 1982. So they will come and unravel as to what those digital crimes are. I will set the whole stage and completely delineate the myth of Metaverse, and then give you a very apt sort of a realization as to the trajectory on which we are or the landmine which has been created, or that we are going from one ignorant platform to another ignorant platform, or we are catapulting into an area which we are just not aware of, and literally anybody and everybody is trying to make some sense out of it. And the way we graduated from a completely lawless web 1 to web 2, and still we are struggling with the social media and having this whole combination of nation state, federal structures, law enforcement, nothing tallying with whatever is the digital infrastructure. So my job, which I've assigned to myself, is to set the stage today for the metaverse, to understand the metaverse as well as we can. So is avatar our new existence? Same way as you have your electoral card and all sorts of UID and things of that nature, will avatar become our next form of existence in the digital world? So that is the biggest question, whether we will get an align to it and we will feel that, okay, this part is an extension of mind. We have tried our level best to make people understand what a digital footprint is and how much a digital footprint can damage you or it can help you, and in which manner you should be, you should try and create a very positive, impactful digital footprint. Nonetheless, whatever is happening in the digital world, you and me, I think everybody is aware of it. So this is the, one second. Yeah, so this is what you are seeing is the gadget. And this VR gadget, is this a screen or this is our new world? Will we see our world through the screen? We have started from, God knows, 50 years back when there used to be some bioscope, and then we got into variety of things, huge screens, computers filling up our rooms, and finally landed up to what we are today and this particular gadget. And I think as we move further, whether this gadget remains or this becomes the gadget of the day, or we get completely enmeshed and forget the difference between the physical reality, virtual reality, whatever. And it can be one enmeshed, a linear progression of realities of which we will not be able to differentiate which is the real reality, whether digital reality or the virtual reality, melt into our physical reality. Cyber physical has already become our world. Industrial Revolution 4.0 is there for our reckoning. Industry 4.0 is all around. The IoT is trying to make its dent in our existence in a manner which is unimaginable. Now we are talking of metaverse. But the added caution is that we have been talking about the digital world in variety of ways in last 10, 15 years. And I am convinced of the fact nearly 98% of it still remains the same. If you get into the digital world, only if you get into the password part of it. Today also password remains to be the most popular password, and we are talking about digital crimes in the metaverse. And the second password, which follows password, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And 97% of the Fortune 500 companies have been hacked. 3% companies which are supposedly not hacked actually have been hacked, but they are not aware of the fact that they've been hacked. So hacking is the new normal. And this is the gentleman who is trying to bring us to a totally different world. Not for a variety of reasons, but primarily for a single reason, that they want to improve upon their unassailable power of controlling the data of this world of 2 billion accounts and spreading into areas which is unimaginable. And he has given us a future construct. And that future construct is metaverse. And that is how the name of the platform, Facebook, has been named Meta. And he wants to create a world which is totally different from the present world, where this particular gadget, which we have seen a couple of minutes back, so that becomes our connect to the world and the physical reality to best of his understanding. And if you have gone into documentaries like Social Dilemma and all that, his game has been to decimate physical reality. When you want to decimate physical reality and the social reality for human beings, I don't think we are going into a very correct direction. And if you get into Max Tegmark and all that, so the ethics becomes the most important parameter or the North Star as we move into the artificial intelligence world. And this also will gonna get connected into artificial intelligence, metaverse, and Web3 will be defining our existence. So this is what metaverse is. started as a portmanteau in 1992 of Meta and Universe. So it's basically the world's digital counterpart. How effective, how smooth, how seamless, in which manner, nobody is aware of. What we know today is avatars, and that being the extension of the real world. Not only the avatars, they claim that the whole human living ecosystem. Now, we all of us know the Google Maps. Now, imagine a 3D world which opens to you as you put up the AR, VR sort of a gadget. And calling it a sheer replication of the physical world is naive. As we moved on to the digital world, as you moved on to the web systems, we realized that the cyber world is totally different from the physical world. And this whole replication business is primarily because of lack of understanding of how system works and how we can move ahead in the future. So this is where we stand today. So what is Metaverse is what we are trying to decipher in first couple of these slides. And there is also, and as Ila said, and as Shashank was talking about, so primarily everybody is getting geared to a metaverse, which can happen, which might be a whimper, which might take 10, 20 years. Nobody has absolutely any idea of it. So everybody is embracing it. That is what it is claimed. And more often than not, all these claims take, I think, decades together. If it happens, then a large number of claims which do not happen for variety of reasons. It is not our job to get into those reasons in this current lecture. Suffice to say that what is intended or the mirage or the final outcome, it should be or it is imagined as a perfect fusion of physical, augmented, and virtual reality. And it will be the third phase of your commercial internet. And what they want to bring is that experience, that 2D, which we have been living in all throughout, from information to value to commerce to social media to all that variety of things which you have experienced in the last 25, 30 years, is being brought to a totally different level and becomes a living and breathing experience. The way you witness the world, it will become much more seamless than that, and you'll be able to do literally anything and everything in that virtual sort of an environment or virtual universe or the virtual globe, whatever you call it. So avatars, content, goods, everything will travel all around. It will seamlessly happen. You can literally do anything and everything which you are doing today in much more perfect fashion, with all the data supporting you to get into the history, into that, into predictions, literally anything and everything in this particular environment. So this is the dream which we are carrying with us, and nobody ever tells that what will be the negative part of it. Any technology, what has been the negative part, all of us know, and it has always been the cult of the developers or people, both the technology part of it and the business part of it. And fortunately or unfortunately, last 25, 30 years, technology, R&D and business have got enmeshed into each other. Our academia, research institutions have literally gone into the background. So any and every single research in technology area is happening under the aegis of huge IT behemoths, and they decide the direction in which we move. Why metaverse is likely to happen or more likely to happen is because of the Gen Z, which they say that convenience is a part of their life. It is not something which is a choice. For Gen Z, it is indispensable. The whole generation wants a different sort of a lifestyle, a different sort of a living, a more comfortable life. So naturally, things will move in that direction. And there are a variety of things which has happened, good, bad, or ugly, making our lives simple, but on the other way around, making it very complex. And they have also made the social existence itself very challenging. So Gen Next wants bigger conveniences, and so the metaverse. So this is what we are trying to cover. So it is a universe. Undeniably, it is a universe. How it will fan out, which technologies will help, which will move out, where R&D will happen, which governments will pick up, which organizations will come together, all that is a different world. Or Mr. Mark Zuckerberg takes over this whole world into virtual reality and literally takes over the whole virtual reality paradigm in the manner these 4 or 5 companies have literally taken over the digital world. And as we move on to the metaverse, the understanding is that we will operate with Web3. If we operate with Web3, it will be a decentralized existence. So one way we have a challenge of a decentralized existence, which we all want. Besides this decentralized existence, the centralized existence that even made monkey of sovereignty of nation state of literally any organization across the face of this earth. And I don't think we're moving in the right direction where there are 4 or 5 IT behemoths or giants who control the whole universe. So from infrastructure, human interface, decentralization, spatial computing, creator economy, discovery and experience, literally every aspect of human technical existence, and today there is no existence of human beings outside of technology. The technology immersion age has set in, at least with the onset of COVID-19, if it was not earlier. So this is how we live, this is how we think. Use cases. So we already have a couple of use cases. So it is not something we are talking of. We are talking of an imaginary situation. So these use cases, they bring experiences to life. And that might be one of the reasons why your particular organization thought of bringing this to the knowledge of people who actually, you can call it as the first movers. So they're interested in technology adoption as the technology comes into the forefront or as the technology comes into the public domain. So the missing link, say if you talk of commerce, the missing link is when you buy something from any sort of e-commerce website, you don't have any experience. And more often than not, if it's something you get from Amazon or realize it is small or big or this shape, that shape, a variety of things which happen in the last 2 years, I think all of us have experienced that. Now that will be completely cut off, or that is the promise which is being given to us. I have not shopped in the virtual store as yet. So shoppers will be able to see what clothes, shoes, furniture look good on them. They will be able to measure, they will fit it into their home, whatever. So all these things, it can be done while you are buying. So it brings, I think, a very different sort of experience, which is way beyond even a physical experience. It is way beyond even a physical experience. That is what I intend to communicate to all of you. Walmart already has a metaverse. The store is there already on the Metaverse, and Italian luxury brand Gucci. So they have partnered with Roblox and a gaming platform. This whole Metaverse concept actually comes from gaming. And that has graduated over the years, and people like Mark Zuckerberg, they felt there's a huge opportunity and they want to push the mankind into that particular sort of opportunity where he feels that that will be ideal for mankind, or it will be the biggest business opportunity for him and people belonging to his ilk. So the price of the item selected, and then automatically it will be debited from your Walmart account. We all know the convenience of our unified payment gateway. Now you think of a situation which is 10 times more comfortable, convenient. You need not even interact. You indicated something, you put the cursor somewhere, and literally anything and everything happens. So experiences, transactions, and commerce. So that gets integrated into a one unified experience at the back end. The huge nature of technology, which is tying it up and giving you an experience which is one of its kind. Why I'm trying to elaborate into a nitty gritty of your metaverse sort of an experience is that is how you will get hooked onto it. It will be extremely difficult to get out of it. And this is only the better part of the story. The worst part of the story will be a variety of things which can literally take your time. We know the impact of gaming on the younger generation and how people completely lose the connect with the physical world and then get into a situation or a dystopia or a mental condition which can at best be called addiction, at best be called digital addiction. And the worst case scenario, I scare even to utter as to where it will impact. We know of a situation where I think the son committed the murder of his father, and when he was taken to the police station, he was literally craving for his mobile phone. He was not just bothered about the fact as to what he has done. Banking also moves on to this particular platform or metaverse, and South Korean bank, Kookmin Bank, it is already there on the KB Financial platform. It's a virtual branch where customers can move around in their avatars and talk to the banking advisors. So broadly, this whole ecosystem in the process of creation. And what I've been repeating over and over again is it not way beyond the real world? And then what is the real world then? Or the real world operates out of this particular system, or it is a different real world, or we are trying to create a synthesis of a world which does not exist. Then we come to what we call as the digital twins. Digital twins is primarily this avatar, this interaction, this virtual world, virtual reality, your social activities, variety of things which happen in the world, which we are trying to put it in the virtual universe. A digital twin is more your manufacturing, more on a side where great manufacturing processes happen, where you are in total control of a manufacturing process and you are able to, at a dynamic real-time level, you are able to make improvements in it. And it is a two-way data dialogue which can literally improve your assembly line in a manner which is unimaginable, both not only the assembly line, research and development, and things of that nature. So digital twin is a virtual representation of an object or a system that spans its life cycle. Is updated from real-time data and uses simulation, machine learning, and reasoning to help decision making. So it is beyond simulation, and it is beyond your avatars. There are linkages which I think you'll be able to delineate, or you have been able to delineate through the course of this lecture. In simple terms, the virtual model accurately reflecting the physical object, and wind turbines is one of those particular areas which we have been talking about. So you will get the data, you operate on the data, there's a parallel physical system working, there's a virtual model working, both integrate into each other at some convergence level, and they help in improving upon that how that model gets into the physical mode. So such data running on virtual models can generate valuable insights. So these are very clear-cut use cases which will take you to different world. But if you get from a different, like your digital crimes in the metaverse, I think you're getting into huge amount of, say, intellectual property, which relates to design, patent, and a large number of hacking in this particular area, which has been done by China in the last 2 decades. There's also been a situation where I think large part of design of F-35 was stolen. So these things have been happening, and as we move on to the metaverse, literally you will be able to get anything what you want on that particular model. And the next example primarily proves that of how BMW is using NVIDIA's Omniverse platform for 31 different factories. If somebody is able to lay his hands on, I think he gets BMW for free. And there is, say, one of your Chinese or Korean or whatever companies, because people have been getting into this trade, it is not unknown to business practices. So let's not be naive that big multinational corporations don't operate into this, or states don't do, non-state actors, or a combination of all these. So moving ahead of simulation, these models can be called virtual environment. Simulation is only a one-way process. Virtual model has a two-way flow of information. So this is where we are coming from. So you talk of virtual reality, you talk of digital twins, you talk of a world where social interaction moves to a different level, business, commerce. So literally anything and everything is impacted if we are going in the direction which we are being shown. I'm not sure of the fact whether we will be able to go in that direction at that pace and with that sort of a dream and that sort of a mirage. So I'm not very sure of the fact, but whatever is available or whatever data is available in the public domain, and whatever capability I as a person who has been following the digital world, the virtual world, the governance, technology for last 20 years. So this is what I feel is my understanding of things. It might be radically different, it might be slightly different, it might be exactly the same as I visualize, or it can be any version of that. So data being ingested is better, constantly updated, relates to a wide range of areas. We'll not get into the further detailing of it. So this is where we are as far as digital twins are concerned, and digital twins can literally take over any advanced tech, scientific sort of a model, exercise, process, manufacturing. So this is where we go. So when we come to data, now how does this data get handled? What is this metaverse data? So you get this unified digital experience, where how does data operate? So data in the metaverse will operate on your web 3. So your web 3.0 is the methodology of the data which operates at the back end of the metaverse, or under a whole unified command and control structure, or a flawless structure of web 3, where we move from a centralized to a decentralized, where provenance, veracity, and value become the order of the day. So you know the origin, you can verify, and you can add value. And at the whole, at the inner wheeling dealing of this whole exercise, blockchain will play a primordial role. So virtual reality and blockchain, these are the two units of technology supported by wide variety of technology converging into artificial intelligence. That is the future of virtual reality. That is the future of mankind. How much we are able to establish, and this whole jungle growth, which happened in Web 1, Web 2, that jungle growth, I am literally convinced of the fact, is going to happen again in Web 3. And with every successive generation of the internet, the control of the state enforcement agencies, capability to investigate, use of data, sovereignty, everything will get It will get lower and lower. It will get more and more compromised as we move further. It will let you own a pair of digital shoes. So your digital shoes, so that is an identity, and that identity also has to be securely authenticated with in the metaverse. So convergence of metaverse and Web3, as I've been telling you again and again. So that will do the magic. And the real experiences in the new digital world should have an underlying data foundation. Now, if this does not happen, see, here it is the risk. And that is why I told you that we are trying to set the stage for 3 speakers after me to get into the digital crime, lay the nitty-gritty of those digital crimes, how they view that particular crime, what are the ingredients of the crime, how it is to be investigated, what is the nature of international collaboration. So all those nitty-gritty they will get into. I am just putting the neat foundation to this whole thing. How all these things we can make it happen. So I've been telling whether it will happen or not, we are not sure. How much it will happen, I'm not sure. So if you see the type of capabilities and expertise which is required across the face of this earth to make a virtual reality successful, not comparing to a very limited sort which your people like Mark Zuckerberg and a couple of other companies might provide. So cloud, apps with microservices architecture, APIs, defining services. So you can read all these things. So unless we gain capability in all these areas, it will become extremely difficult to converge all these technologies. And understanding technology or a part of technology is not the name of the game. We are living in an interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary world, which is basically converging into your regulation, into your sovereignty, into your data, the variety of things. If we think of those 132 Chinese apps, where supposedly data was being stolen, I'm not sure of the fact whether we have been able to file even one criminal case or have been able to prove how data was being transferred from this country to which server in which manner, to what impact, for what purpose. I'm not very sure of it. So history of data proves that it works only for the data powerful. It can be a state, it can be a human being, it can be anybody, it can be a company, it can be literally anything. And as we move on to the first crime on the metaverse, so this is reported recently, where this lady, Nina Jain Patel. So this incident had happened 60 seconds after joining Meta's Metaverse platform, Horizon Venues. So she was sexually harassed by 3 or 4 avatars. The most challenging part is that though it is virtual in nature, the impact which it has on you, I think is broadly what the gaming does to you. So basically, it hits your physiological, and your psychological, the whole setup, or what we call as a human being, or what we call as a neural network, or our feeling, experience, cognition, whatever. So everything is impacted. So they essentially, but virtually gang raped my avatar and took photos as I tried to get away. So this is a quote from whatever she has described later. And the physiological and psychological response was though it has happened in reality. So this is where we are. How do we treat this nature of criminality? How do we control this nature of criminality? How do we take a virtual crime and declare it as a physical crime? That a rape on virtual reality platform, or a murder, or whatever you call it, or it will be treated at a different level, impacting the psychological part more, and trying to bring down your self-esteem, or trying to bring down your confidence, or whatever, or variety of things which we have been facing at the mental level in this particular COVID-19 situation. So meta criminality, I think it has to be treated as another topic. So meta criminality and meta crimes, what we have been trying to do with cyber crime and digital crime is trying to put that framework of the physical world of your IPC, CRPC, Evidence Act, and bit of a tweaking with your IT Act and amendment in IT Act. They have never been able to fathom out as to what digital cyber criminality is, how crimes are committed, and the way it is being impacted. Even a case like Silk Road, I think it was only because of the public outcry that your FBI was forced to get into that investigation. Otherwise, they're not able to make out. And even in that investigation, there are 2 FBI agents who made, I think, around $2 or $5 million. So this is where it is. And blockchain can be a very important, a very strong tool in investigation. How much we do, in which manner do, how our laws help us, we have absolutely no idea. What all will it impact? It will impact everything. If the way it is being visualized, it will literally impact everything. And if it does not move in the direction or in the manner which it should happen, it will turn out like your gaming sort of a industry. It will be a $5 billion, $10, $20 billion industry. People who like technology, people who have a taste for these things, people who find benefit, who can make money, who find entertainment there, all these will certainly move to the metaverse. There is absolutely no denying the fact that this will be an important industry as we move forward. How much of public adoption will happen? There are variety and variety of reasons for it not happening. We still have the digital divide. I will not get into those reasons or the causes which all of us you are aware of. So how much of criminality, crimes, investigation, regulation and enforcement we have been able to understand of Web 2? So that is my first question. If we have reached on a scale of 10, 2 or 3, if 10% of our cases go for cyber forensics, if we have not been able to understand the thought process or the criminality component of a cyber crime, if we are not able to understand why the 2016 presidential elections of the US had been hacked, and we are not even aware of the fact as to what impact it made, or if you are not able to understand how Brexit happened and what was the role of these great characters like Facebook and Cambridge Analytica. Now, these are the same guys who are taking us to the metaverse. So you can give it a thought as to how much we can rely on them, in which manner, for what purpose. And these are the guys who have never appeared for any of the congressional hearings or wherever they have appeared. They have come up with bland statement because of the huge financial power. They have been able to get away with from variety of things and from the clutches of law for sure. If metaverse is a replication of the physical world, what all crimes can happen? Literally any and every crime can happen. More on your banking, financial services, insurance, and that part of the financial. There it will be very, very impact making on the sides of, say, self-esteem or bullying or defamation or all that variety of things, which primarily comes out of the people's feeling regarding you, or spreading hate or propaganda, demeaning people, getting away with things, while it does not fall into the physical law. So nearly 80-90% of today's digital world is literally unconcerned of the law. And not only the law and the crime we are talking about, there's a whole world of crime above and beyond this. That Facebook does not pay one single penny of tax to a sovereign state. Now, how the Indian state looks at that as a crime or not as a crime, absolutely no idea. I, for one, am convinced of the fact that it has to be a crime and there should be a law. We should bring these guys to book. You cannot have 20% of your turnover out of a country without paying a single naya paisa. It also adds a new and value-added features of virtual reality. Suffice to state that physical reality does not get replicated in virtual reality. There is some component of physical reality which moves there. There are a variety of features and value adds and conveniences and technologies which take your experience, your life to a totally different level. And that is the reality. There is nothing virtual or physical about it. That is the reality. There is no other reality. And if we keep defining it into different forms of reality, different forms of life, we will never be able to tackle this animal, either from a digital crime point of view, enforcement point of view, law point of view, regulation point of view, digital sovereignty. Why do you talk of digital sovereignty? It is sovereignty. If a nation state does not have the capability to intercept communication which is antithetical to its existence, it loses to be a nation state, because sovereignty and territorial integrity are two very basic components of our existence. And if territorial integrity is maintained and sovereignty is being played around with literally any and every single tool at the disposal of the world, public, private, and otherwise, so I leave it to you. So it will be its risk of misuse. So will be the risk of misuse. Value, data, utility of data, potential. So all those particular, all crimes would be related to, in some form or the other, it will be related to data. You might call it, no, it's physical. You might call it, the back end is data, and only data, and it's all play of data, and whosoever controls the data will control the world. And with data, it is very natural, and it is presumed now that you are also controlling machine learning, you're controlling artificial intelligence, you are into patterns, you're into correlations, you're into predictions, you're literally into anything and everything, which controls us and 2 billion accounts. And this sort of interaction where everybody is finally into that day in and day out, leaving the physical world. What is the nature of control this guy will gain? You can take a call. Anonymity would be another great challenge. Now also anonymity is the biggest challenge. As we move further, if it is further anonymity, it will add to our problems, it will add to our existence. And when commerce and banking moves on to this platform, financial crimes will not be far behind. So broadly, I'm giving you a whole gamut of things, how it happens, how you can chase it at least, if not be at the head of it. We are trying to be future ready, but the whole mechanism has to be future ready. We cannot live in 2022 with a thought process of the 20th century and our institutions and our mechanisms of the 19th century. So this is what I want to convey. So we need to get ready to get into this metaverse. First, we try and set right whatever we have not been able to do in last decade or so. Only then we can move on to the future. We cannot move on to the future straight from Web 1 to Web 3. It will be extremely difficult. Though physical injuries will not happen. It will not happen when we talk of physical crime. It will not happen. But how do you deal with that? If whatever one avatar murders somebody and there is a sexual assault and things of that, how do we deal with the virtual reality physical crime? So this is another area which you can give it a thought. There is a social dystopia which will happen. How you connect the criminality, how you put the crimes, what your lawmakers think about the metaverse. How do you basically regulate a society from a very positive and proactive point of view, because they will be the final users and they will be the final victims, as we have seen in variety of ways, in variety of places, at variety of levels, and they have absolutely no recourse to literally anything and everything, and these guys will get away with everything. And then, which you have seen in COVID-19 situation, a psychological breakdown. When we say, boss, I don't know what to do. And it ends up into variety of things. Political fallout, end to end across the globe, it is there. Whether our people who run out the nations, whether they know or they don't know, we have absolutely no idea. There are lots of places where you have the state actors, you have the non-state actors, and metaverse would be a crazy honeymoon time for the state actors and non-state actors and the military to operate from one area, and your big IT behemoths from the other area. So one side you have the military internet complex, military internet metaverse complex, and the other side you have Facebooks and Googles and all these companies of this nature who control you from the other side. Surveillance will be complete. Life will be sold out to these two entities. They'll be meddling with literally anything and everything. How do we investigate? How will our capabilities grow manifold? I leave it to the people who will follow me to answer the more difficult questions. So will it be a new world order or just a whimper? Still a long way off for technology to make it happen. So I'm extremely thankful to all of you for having been very patient with my lecture. And we'll go with the final thought of Shashank, that let's get into the act. Let's get into the act of getting future ready. Thanks a lot for your rapt attention.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for giving a complete overview of Metaverse ecosystem, how future experience may look like in terms of retail experience, avatars and digital twins, Metaverse data, and Metaverse criminality, and how crimes will be treated in the future. They're committed in such an environment. Thanks for that download.